On today's episode of the Winded Podcast, I'm joined by Colorado's own Gianna Girardi. She goes over her roles with both the Colorado Rockies and the Denver Nuggets, talks about what it's like being a woman in sports, says that altitude is overrated, and who she thinks is going to be the next team to win a title in Denver, Colorado. The Winded Podcast starts now. Welcome back to the Winded Podcast. I'm your host, Seamus Sullivan. It's starting to feel like baseball season. It's spring training, the World Baseball Classics in full effect, and the weather actually is starting to feel like baseball weather. So who better to have on today than Colorado Rockies in-game host Gianna Girardi, also covers the Denver Nuggets as a beat reporter. Gianna, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. Very excited that spring is approaching and baseball along with it.
Yeah, how's the weather out in Colorado? Is it starting to turn, or is it still feeling like winter?
It has been so nice. It's literally like 70 degrees outside right now. I'm ready to lay out by the pool, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're both in short sleeves, which, I had to dig for this. I didn't have any short sleeves accessible. So,
Yeah, well,
very, very excited to have you on and kind of tell your story, and what you're up to, what you're looking to accomplish and your goals. But right off the bat, I kind of want to get into, as a woman in sports, what is kind of the thing that people don't necessarily understand is like a challenge, and just what it's like being a woman in sports was something that people don't really get, from your perspective.
yeah, I would say really the only challenge I could conceptualize would be the fact that sometimes people don't understand that women are very interested in sports. It's not only something for the men. Um, and there are a lot of girls who are very knowledgeable. And I would say that that's probably just the biggest thing. Outside of that, within all of my work experiences, I have felt nothing but welcomed. And everybody that I work with is always excited and eager to get more women in the space. So honestly, like I haven't really faced that many challenges, but I would say in the perception of kind of just the general public that sports are more male oriented, which I don't think is true.
Just from what I do and the people that I talk to, I don't think that's true at all. I think, it seemed like the perception of what women in sports were was that, it was not with the right intentions, or they weren't as dedicated or understanding. Do you feel like do you feel any pressure to feel like you have to be extra prepared as a woman, or are you comfortable in your space in the sports world?
Honestly, I felt very comfortable, and that's definitely because of the people that I'm surrounded by. Once again, everyone that I work with has been nothing short of absolutely amazing. But I would say on social media, you can hear a little more of the, "Oh, she's a girl, she doesn't know what she's talking about." So I would say, like, at least social media-wise, I do try to make sure everything I say is perfected. I do that all the time, but social media can get a little more nitty-gritty with the women in sports aspect.
Yeah. So you kind of grew up in a sports family. Has you specifically, is it something that was always a love and a passion for you, or is it something that as you got older, you learned to appreciate it a little more?
I would say I've always had a love and passion for sports. I mean, I was a pretty big athlete back in my day. I played soccer and tennis, and soccer was my main sport, played it pretty competitively. But growing up with my uncle managing and playing in the MLB, he actually has 4 World Series rings. Baseball was a huge aspect of my life. And not only was he involved, but my brother played and I was drug along to all of his tournaments. My dad coached him for a while when he was pretty little. So whole family is just very involved, especially on the baseball side of things. But sports have always been a passion of mine. And I feel like that kind of ignited my want to pursue this career was being around it all the time and trying to figure out a way that I could get my foot in the door. So I kinda always turned my eye to the reporters and the in-game hosts, and with my uncle, I would sit in on all of his pressers after the game from age, like, 7. So it's been something that, as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, you have kind of a firsthand media training experience.
Mhm.
And for those that haven't, connected the dots and done the math, and I know that this won't be the most popular thing in Boston, but Gianna's uncle is former Yankees manager Joe Girardi. So, a lot of respect for him, but as a Boston Red Sox fan, not my favorite person in the world, but much
Res
respect to the career that he had.
you.
So how did you kind of get your foot in the door? And kind of what led you to the Rockies job?
Mhm. So, because my passion did start so young, entering college, I knew that this was something that I wanted to pursue. I went to CU Boulder. They don't necessarily offer like a sports broadcasting degree, but they do have a minor. So I minored in sports media and started sending applications to literally any internship I could possibly find. Um, and ended up getting a few internships within college, which were probably the most beneficial thing I've ever done in my entire life. Especially there's just so many things in this industry that a classroom can't teach you. So although I did have sports media as a minor, I would say the hands-on experience is the most important aspect of it. So I did an internship at MLB Network and I was only 20 years old. And MLB Network is in Secaucus, New Jersey. I was born and raised in Colorado. So it was kind of like my first time away from home, considering I went to CU as well, and kind of entered not really knowing very much. So it was definitely a sink or swim situation, but had so many wonderful mentors who completely took me under their wing, and I learned so many valuable lessons from them. After that, I got an internship with Altitude Sports here in Colorado. They cover like the Avalanche, the Nuggets, the Mammoth. So my internship specifically, I was with the Avalanche and the Nuggets. And that's kind of just when I knew I was like, I have to make this happen. It has to be my career. So my internships definitely helped lead the way. But for the Rockies job, one of my mentors at Altitude Sports actually was the in-game host the year previous to me being hired. And I saw on Instagram that she had moved away and taken a job elsewhere. So I was like, oh, that means that there's an opening. So from probably October till the first week of January, I checked the website every single day waiting for the job to be posted. And funny enough, I was on a family vacation for New Year's and the job was posted. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have my computer. How am I supposed to apply for this?" So, was completely freaking out. It was something I wanted so extremely bad and got lucky enough that it worked out.
That's great. What's kind of like the day-to-day for you? I mean, obviously, you don't just show up right before first pitch. What's kind of your process, and then kind of your activity throughout the game?
Yeah, we get there a couple hours early, and my crew that I work with, we're all called Rockies Vision. Um, I'm not sure how many of us there are, but there's a lot of work and talent that goes into even just making the big screen operate. So shout out Rockies Vision because they're all amazing. But we'll get there a couple hours early, kind of go over scripts and timing and just everything that needs to happen that day. We will have a break to, like, eat before first pitch, but outside of that, kinda just prepare for each day and what changes there will be, and then once the game starts, it's kind of a routine. We know which inning, like, which outs will be going live after and whatnot. Obviously, it's different every day depending on which fans you're interviewing or how the game's going. So that's kind of like the biggest adjustment is just being ready to go on the fly. But yeah, there's like a lot of preparation that goes into it ahead of time, and so many talented people that are working behind the scenes. So my co-host and I, Brady, you guys will see us up there, but so many people working behind the scenes to make all the magic happen.
What has it been like? Obviously, the Rockies have had kind of a rocky couple of years. How does that change your kind of approach to keep the vibe up, keep people, engaged and entertained and wanting to keep coming back to the ballpark?
Mhm. The cool thing about Coors Field is it's one of the most magical stadiums in the world. I don't know if you've ever been there, but the atmosphere and the fan base that we have, they're all so excited and happy every single day that it doesn't even make it any more difficult, in my opinion. I mean, I started last year, so I haven't really seen what the change would be like, um, dependent on how the team is doing. But yeah, I always just try to stay positive, and when you have a smile on your face, so do the fans. They're at a baseball game to have fun. So there's really not much that would change how they're reacting or anything specific that I have to do.
What's been kind of like a pinch me moment? Can't believe this is my job. Any specific, interaction with a fan, or just kind of like you take a time to like reflect, and you're like, I can't believe this is what I get to do for work.
Mhm. Honestly, that thought goes through my head every single day. I feel extremely blessed and lucky, but I would say opening day last year, I was like, wow, we're here. It was a complete blizzard here in Denver. So that kind of added another layer to it. But I would say the first, like, wow, this is like really real moment was I want to say it was maybe like our third home stand last year. So I was still nervous every time I got up in front of the camera and we were playing the Yankees. So there's a lot of Yankees fans here in Colorado and the stadium was completely sold out for all three games. And I got up there in front of almost 50,000 people. And that was kind of the first time that I was like, holy cow, this is completely insane, like, Aaron Judge is sitting down there and he can see me up on the screen, like, so that was definitely the, like, welcome to the big leagues moment for me, yeah, I l truly the thought crosses my mind every single day that I just feel incredibly lucky to be doing what I'm doing.
The fact that you were born and raised in Colorado, and then to kind of be able to settle in your kind of hometown, home city, and cover the teams that you grew up around just must be so special.
It truly is, I mean, getting a job in sports is pretty difficult. It's a pretty niche competitive market. And when I originally graduated from CU, I moved out to LA and was working a job not related to sports because they are hard to find. So, getting the Rockies job and being able to move back home, especially for a team that as a kid, I grew up in their stands. Like, I was a fan of the Rockies my whole entire life. And it definitely that's another, like, pinch me moment. Also, this is kinda cheesy, but purple's my favorite color, and it always has been, so that's another plus. But yeah, being able to do this at home and especially have friends and family come to the games and be able to support and watch is really special.
For me, as a consumer of sports and just an observer, and I've as I've kind of gotten involved in the podcast and just paying closer attention, I've come to realize like how beloved, people that are in those kind of host positions are. They are not you're not like overly analytical, like you're just there for the vibes and fun, and kind of um just putting smiles on people's faces. How have the fans of Colorado embraced you?
They have been so amazing. I mean, Rockies fans are truly some of the best fans in the entire world, and I'll say that about any Colorado sport. Our fans here are just awesome, and especially growing up here, I feel like that's another aspect of it. It's kind of harder to find Colorado natives these days. We've got a lot of transplants, so I think they think it's pretty fun that I grew up here. Um, but yeah, everybody's been extremely supportive. There have been so many times where I'll maybe mess up a little bit, but they have always been so kind, never heard any really negativity from anybody at Coors Field, and it makes my job so much easier and more fun, and they're all excited to see me, and if they get to be part of the interviews, pretty special when they come up happy and excited.
Between the different venues in Denver, with Coors Field, Ball Arena for the Nuggets and the Avalanche, and then Mile High or whatever it's called now. I'm always gonna call it Mile High.
Yeah, it changes
Um,
quite often.
what's that?
It changes quite often.
Yeah,
It's Sports Authority, Mile High, now it's Empower.
okay. How,
Mhm.
uh how would you kind of compare the different atmospheres across those 3, but for the 4 teams?
I would say, I mean, they're all extremely fun, that's the first thing. Fan bases, obviously, it's similar, it's all Colorado people, but I would say it's more the, like, biggest difference is just the nature of the sport per se and the, like, culture surrounded by it. So that's one thing that's really cool about Coors Field is everybody's just truly, like, pretty relaxed and happy to be there. You never really hear any arguments or yelling, and I know some fans can get crazy, get in fights sometimes, and that doesn't happen. Like, everybody's happy to be there, everybody's excited to be around each other, but yeah, like, every single stadium here is electric, and the fans are the ones who create that experience. So, they're all fun, but definitely in their different ways.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Which Colorado team is gonna win a championship next?
Oh, I'm gonna say the Broncos.
That's a safe answer.
We were pretty close this year, and next year, we're gonna be even stronger. Hopefully, Bo Nix wouldn't be hurt come playoffs. So I'm gonna
That would have been a different game, I believe. I'm a Cowboys fan living in Boston, so that's always a challenge. But I would have, as just a I don't have a dog in the fight kind of thing. I would have loved to have seen what Bo Nix would have been able to do against Drake May in that game, especially in that weather.
right, and shout out City, he did a great job, but
He
I think
did.
we've been in a
He did.
better position for sure. So I'm gonna say if it's not the Avalanche, it's gonna be the Broncos.
Yeah, there. I mean, really could be any of them. Have they all are right there and could happen.
Mhm.
So it's I think Colorado. I had Delaney from Sports Girls Club on last week, and I asked her what the most underrated sports city is. She picked Pittsburgh. I actually think Colorado is right up there, where it doesn't quite get the same national recognition. I think Boston, New York, L.A., even Chicago, kind of like are the ones that come to people's mind first. But I think that Colorado is right there, right behind them.
I would have to agree, and I grew up a fan of many different teams and cities considering my family history. And I've been in the New York, Philly settings, and like Denver comparatively is pretty fun and it's up there for sure.
Let's sticking with Colorado sports. You began writing for covering the Denver Nuggets as a beat reporter for Guerrilla Sports. How did you get into that? Is writing something that you've always kind of had a passion for, or just kind of something you wanted to give a try?
Yeah, so I'm actually covering them almost as like a sideline reporter. So I am on camera for that
Okay.
still, which has been very fun because that's kind of the next step in my career, hopefully, would be to move into that sideline position. So it's been extremely fun. I mean, the Nuggets are such a fun team to cover. If they get through all of these injuries, I would say that they would be the next ones to win the championship. However, we've been a little unfortunate with all of our players getting hurt. But yes, like extremely fun team to cover, something I'm still on camera for. And I mean, like interviewing Jokic, who wouldn't love to do that?
I was just gonna ask. Jokic is one of if I see a clip come up, it doesn't matter what it is, what he's talking about, I have to stop and watch it. What's it like? And living in Boston, there's only so much. It's kind of the viral stuff that gets to me. What's it like being around, a personality like him day in and day out?
It's crazy because he is one of the athletes that I've looked up to most in my life. Like, he's truly one of the greatest of all time. Um, so being around him, like, you never necessarily get comfortable with it. Like, still every day, I'm like, "Wow, I'm talking to Nikola Jokic right now." But people like to poke fun at his personality and give the like, "Oh, he doesn't care about basketball, only horses, he's just there." Um, I would disagree with that. I think he that's part of the reason that I think he's so cool is he is one of the greatest of all time, and he couldn't care less. He wants to just be a normal human, but, like, obviously he cares about basketball. He's putting in all this effort to be so good at the sport, but he just doesn't need the fame and the money and all the aspects that come along with it. So, seeing all of those things posted, like, I know people like to poke fun at it and everything, but truthfully, it's not the case. He's there because he wants to be there.
That clip of him at the press conference after they won the title and they told him that the parade was on Thursday and him just
No.
sulking
Yeah.
is, I could see people, taking it the wrong way, but I don't know how you can look at that and not laugh and not, at least feel for the guy. Like he just laid it out on the line for 10, 8 months, whatever, and he's just ready to go home to live, the small portion of the year that he can live his normal life. And he's just like, actually, it has to wait a couple more days. And the real emotion was just too funny.
Well, and he's just so, like, unintentionally iconic.
Yes.
He's not trying to have all of those clips go viral and whatnot, they just happen, and the funny thing is, I don't know if you saw after the parade, he ended up being like, "I love the parade. I'm happy I'm here." So he got on
Yeah.
the stage pretty quickly.
He strikes me as like, he's not aware of how funny he is,
Mhm,
and part of it is, like, the foreign aspect of it, like but, you know, he probably has no idea that these things are going viral and that people are, loving every, clip that goes out of him and, just find him so, like you said, unintentionally iconic.
mhm. Yeah, and he couldn't care less, he is like, "I'm gonna play basketball, I'm gonna be a dad and a husband, and that's all I need."
Yeah, and his horses, of course.
Oh, yeah, can't forget that.
You have also built, quite a following on social media. Is that something that kind of was intentional, kind of to, you know, build your brand and work towards something? Or is that something that you really kind of just see as fun on the side, just like, you show your day in the life, you show kind of behind the scenes of what you do, and lifestyle type stuff. But is that something that's intentional, attached to your brand or just for fun?
I would say it truly is just for fun. It started just as something that was fun, and I'm gonna forever post when I am having fun. Being only 24, growing up, like, social media was a very, like, pivotal part of, like, my generation and our lives, so I forever have been posting moments of my life that are fun or maybe I think are cool, so that's, like, definitely an aspect of a way to show people kind of a little bit of my personality and just enjoy, like, how much I enjoy what I do. So, truthfully, it is all for fun and kind of unintentionally blew up, but I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I followed you on Instagram first, and, you have a huge following there, and then I found you on TikTok, and you're doing great over there too.
Thank you.
Do you have a preference of either one, or is it just kind of you share on both, or what do you enjoy? What kind of content do you enjoy putting out?
Yeah, I would say that they're both very different. TikTok, I probably am a little sillier and goofier on, and it's easy to just post every single day and not really care necessarily as much of what the perception of anything will be. Instagram, I do feel like is a little more serious. So I really enjoy posting on both. And as you mentioned, like the following on Instagram is bigger. So it's fun that I can reach more people through that outlet. But they are just, like, 2 different platforms, like, TikTok's fun because it's silly and goofy, and I don't know, it doesn't take much thought behind my posts, where Instagram, they're pretty thought out before being shared.
It is funny how you could share the exact same thing on both, and they perform completely differently, and what you think will take off in one place it'll be the opposite, and you just I have a tough time I'm like, "How does this work? Like, how is it the same thing? It's people are following me for the same reasons, and it's in this way it performs, and this one it doesn't."
Mhm. Mine does the same thing. It's definitely a mystery, but
I'm gonna go through some kinda quick hitter questions. What is your go-to stadium food?
Ooh, I would say probably a hot dog or, like, soft serve ice cream.
Okay. The helmet in the helmet?
Yeah, I don't like a cone because then it's, like, messier. I always
Yeah.
it drips all over me and melts, so probably the helmet.
That's just like a iconic stadium thing is getting that ice cream in the helmet. Um, if you were a player and you were going up to bat at Coors Field, what would your walk-up song be?
I've been asked this so many times, and I never can come up with a great answer because there's so many songs that I love. I don't know how they all do it. It would be so hard to pick one. If I was somebody like Otani or Aaron Judge, like one of the greats, and they know they're one of the greats, my walk-up song would for sure be "Remember the Name." But, like, you have to be it's a very confident song to play for yourself, so you gotta be one of the best of all time. Um, Otherwise, I don't know, I like "Flashing Lights" by Kanye. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you think you would take it I always love when the guys have kind of like a sense of humor about it and have like a almost like a funny song, like, the one that comes to mind is Shane Victorino used to always come up to "Don't Worry, Be Happy,"
Mhm.
and, you know, Fenway when he was with the Red Sox in that playoff run when they won the World Series, the whole stadium would just, like, sing along to it, and it was just, like, turned into this, like, whole kind of organic thing based on kind of having, like, a less than serious song to go up to the plate to.
Yeah, Charlie Blackman had that here, not necessarily the serious aspect, but getting all of the fans to sing along, and, I mean, that's fun, that's gotta hype you up as you're walking out, having the whole stadium singing the song that you chose, you know, so and it makes it fun for the fans too every time he was up to bat, like, we were all ready to sing.
Yep. Charlie Blackmon was from a distance, he was, like, one of my favorite players to watch. I mean, it seemed like he hit a home run every day. It was he just crushed the ball. You've obviously interviewed some great iconic people. Who would be a dream interview that you have not interviewed yet?
Hmm. Um, Oddly enough, kind of like living my dream because I would have said Jokic previous to this year. Um, Now it would probably be Aaron Judge. I'm a big Aaron Judge girl.
I mean, he's a special, special baseball player, that's for sure, and I'm a Red Sox fan, and I find myself betting him anytime, you know, a home run every single day because it's most likely gonna happen.
Right, and I had the opportunity to meet him a few times just growing up with my uncle managing the Yankees while he was kind of coming up, and he's such a good, wholesome human as well, like, he seems like genuinely just such a good guy, so I think that that aspect always ties into it too, when you're one of the best athletes to play the sport that you play and a very wholesome person, that's, you know, the best of both worlds, so Aaron Judge would probably be my dream interview. It's hard to pick, though, there's so many people that I want to interview.
I'm sure you'll get to. The way you're tracking right now, I'm sure you'll get to. What's a sports take you'll defend, forever?
Ooh, I don't know if it's necessarily a sports take, I guess I would say altitude is blown out of proportion.
Okay.
I think that they make it a way bigger deal than it needs to be. I mean, players are on the sidelines, they can take oxygen. I've seen the Nuggets get blown out by teams because the Nuggets are the ones who are looking tired, where they're supposed to have the altitude on their side. Coors Field, altitude in baseball, that's a huge conversation, but, like, both teams are playing at it. Like, both teams have the pitching issues and the ball goes further when you hit it. But I don't know. I think altitude's truly blown out of proportion. I think it's a cool aspect that Denver has it because I'm a Denver fan. However, I don't think it's as big of a deal as people make it.
So I've never been to Denver. Is that something that if you go and you visit, is it something that if you didn't know that that existed, you would feel it, or is that it, like you said, overblown?
It's definitely something that you feel, especially the, like, dehydration aspect. A lot of my family and friends who aren't from here, when they come visit, I'm like, "Make sure you chug your water," and they'll be winded from walking up the stairs. However, when it's professional athletes whose bodies are in, like, tip-top condition and they're performing at the highest level, I think that the altitude isn't necessarily as big of an aspect as it's made out to be.
Yeah, when, just sports radio in Boston the week leading up to the AFC Championship game, it was like every other caller was, like, talking about what the Patriots should be doing to get ready for it. I
Mhm.
think they got a lotta heat for they didn't go out until, like, later than they probably could have, and people were all upset that they weren't there adjusting to the altitude, and it's like, these are very like, strong, like, highly trained athletes.
Right.
It's not like, you or I going out there and just, like, trying to, like, run a marathon. It's, like, a different thing, but it is funny how anytime there's going to Denver and I think probably football more than the other sports, at least from my opinion, they, like it gets brought up and it's almost like a kind of an excuse, and to
Mm.
your point, I think I think you might be right that it's a little overrated.
Mhm. Like, definitely a big deal, and you definitely do feel it. However, when it comes to professional athletes and saying that the Broncos are gonna win because the Patriots have to face the altitude, like, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
The way they were talking about it here, it was the altitude was gonna, like, cancel out the fact that Jarrett Stidham was starting instead of Bo Nix. Like, it was like, "Oh, this is like an even playing field now," and it's like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, for
People
someone like Ryan
are
Clark who
kinda saying stuff like that as well, so that's funny that it reached you out in Boston.
yeah, like someone like Ryan Clark who has, like, sickle cell and it's like like a legitimate thing that, like, affects you in a different way, that's one thing, but for the average athlete, just suck it up and go out there.
Right. Like, they can run circles around any of us normal people, so
So, like we said before we got on, you have a busy spring coming up with opening day just right around the corner, and then you'll still be covering the Nuggets, and hopefully they go on a little bit of a run and keep you real busy into June. What's next for you this year? What else you got going on?
Yeah, once Rockies starts, that's I'm very excited for that, it's going to be very fun, but outside of the in-game hosting, at the end of last season, I was kind of working my way into that sideline, role and learning from everybody that's there right now, so hoping to continue that this season and kinda just climb the ladder in that aspect, but really, Nuggets and Rockies are gonna be taking up my life for the next couple of months, and I couldn't be happier about it.
I was gonna say, you poor thing.
Yeah. I know, my job's so hard, I have to sit at sports events. Oh. But yeah, outside of that, just kinda trying to improve myself every single day and become as knowledgeable about sports that I possibly can and kinda just be a little stadium rat. I don't know.
Well, I know that a handful of my friends and listeners already follow you, but if you're not one of the 130 plus thousand people that follow you on social media, where can people find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, it's my name, Gianna_Girardi, and then TikTok is Gianna Girardi underscore. So pretty similar, but the underscore is in a different spot. Um, so am trying to start an X and Facebook account. However, those are kind of a work in progress as once again, I am 24, so it kind of skipped my generation a little bit, but X especially, that's like where you find everything sports related. So getting more involved in those 2, but Instagram and TikTok are where you'll see me post the most often.
Awesome. Well, Gianna, it's been so fun to talk with you, get to know you a little bit, share your story. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was a ton of fun and super nice to meet you. Your job is very impressive, and thank you for having me on.
Of course, we'll do it again sometime.
Sounds great. Thank you.